What is the monk's secret to happiness? And could a simple 5-minute daily practice truly change your life? Part 1. We live in a world that is obsessed with the idea of happiness, yet it often feels more elusive than ever. We chase it through promotions, new possessions, exotic vacations, and the relentless pursuit of self-optimization. We're told to hustle harder, to manifest our dreams, to build a life that looks perfect on the outside. But for so many of us, this constant striving just leads to burnout, anxiety, and the nagging feeling that we're always falling short. We're running a marathon in search of a peace that seems to recede with every step we take. What if the secret isn't about adding more, but about learning to be with what's already here? What if the profound peace we see in the eyes of a seasoned monk isn't the result of some mystical, unattainable state, but the product of a simple, consistent, daily training of the mind? In this series, we are going to pull back the curtain on that training. We will explore one core principle and one simple 5-minute practice that forms the bedrock of monastic life, a practice so fundamental and powerful that it has the potential to radically reorient your relationship with your life starting today. To understand this secret, we first need to diagnose the primary cause of our unhappiness and stress. From a Buddhist perspective, it's not our external circumstances that are the main problem. It's the untrained state of our own minds. Our mind, in its default state, is often compared to a monkey mind, or, in a more ancient metaphor, a wild elephant. It is restless, chaotic, and constantly pulled in 1,000 different directions by thoughts, memories, worries, and desires. It swings from a branch of the past, replaying a regret, to a branch of the future, anxiously anticipating an event, rarely resting in the only place where life is actually happening, the present moment. This constant frantic movement is exhausting, and it is the root of so much of our anxiety and dissatisfaction. The fundamental secret of the monk, then, is not the absence of problems, but the presence of a trained mind. Monastic life is, at its core, a laboratory for training the attention. The primary tool for this training is mindfulness, or sati, in the Pali language. We've all heard this word, but its meaning is simple and profound. Mindfulness is simply the quality of awareness that arises from paying attention, on purpose, in the present moment, without judgment. It is the act of taming the wild elephant of the mind. How does this simple act of paying attention lead to happiness? Let's break it down. When your mind is scattered, you are not truly living your life. You are living in a mental simulation of your life. You're at home with your family, but your mind is at the office. You're at the office, but your mind is worrying about bills. You're eating a meal, but you're not tasting the food because you're scrolling on your phone. This disconnect between your body and your mind is a profound source of unease. Mindfulness closes this gap. It brings your mind back home to your body, back home to the present moment. This act of coming home has immediate effects on your nervous system. It shifts you out of the fight or flight sympathetic nervous system, which is fueled by future worries and past regrets, and into the rest and digest parasympathetic nervous system, which is activated by present moment awareness. You can feel this shift physically. Your heart rate slows, your shoulders drop, your breath deepens. This is the physiological basis for the peace that mindfulness brings. It is a state of being fully present and engaged with your life as it is, rather than being lost in thought about your life. So, what does this mean for you in your busy, demanding life? It means that you don't need to quit your job and move to a monastery to find this peace. The laboratory for training your attention is your own life right now. The secret is not to change your life, but to change how you show up for it. And the way you begin this training is through a simple, foundational practice that takes just 5 minutes a day. This practice is called mindfulness of breath. It is the absolute cornerstone of meditative training. The breath is the perfect object of attention because it is always with you. It is always in the present moment, and it is intimately linked to your state of mind. By learning to rest your attention on the breath, you are building the mental muscle of focus and presence. So, here is your invitation for the next week. Just 5 minutes a day. Find a quiet place where you can sit comfortably. You can set a timer. Close your eyes if you're comfortable, and simply bring your attention to the feeling of your breath moving in and out of your body. You might feel it at the tip of your nose, or as the rise and fall of your belly. Your only job is to feel that sensation. When your mind inevitably wanders, and it will, that's what minds do, your job is not to get frustrated. The moment you notice your mind has wandered is a moment of victory. You have just woken up. Gently, kindly, without judgment, escort your attention back to the feeling of the breath. That's it. Every time you bring your mind back, you're doing one repetition at the mental gym. You are taming the wild elephant, one breath at a time. The monk's secret, then, is not a secret at all. It is the simple, profound truth that the quality of our life is determined by the quality of our attention. Our default monkey mind pulls us away from our lives, creating stress and dissatisfaction. The practice of mindfulness, starting with just 5 minutes of attention to the breath, is the foundational skill that allows us to come home to the present moment and find peace right where we are. But this is just the first step. This is basic training. How do we take this newfound presence and apply it to the messy, complicated, and often painful reality of our daily lives? How does this simple practice help us deal with difficult emotions, stressful situations, and our own inner critic? That is where we will go in part 2, as we explore how to take your mindfulness practice off the cushion and into the world. Have you ever tried to meditate before? What was your experience? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you're ready to commit to just 5 minutes a day, let us know, and let's support each other. Please like this video and subscribe to Buddhism Wisdom, spirituality to continue this journey. Part 2. In our last part, we uncovered the foundational secret of the monk's happiness, the training of attention through mindfulness. We committed to a simple, 5-minute daily practice of mindfulness of breath as our basic training, our mental gym. This practice builds the core muscle of presence, but a strong muscle is only useful if you know how to use it in your daily life. The ultimate goal is not to become a great meditator who can sit on a cushion for hours. The goal is to bring the qualities of mindfulness, presence, clarity, and non-judgment into every aspect of your life. So, the crucial question is, how do we take this practice off the cushion? How do we use this newfound awareness to navigate the inevitable challenges of daily life, from difficult emotions to stressful situations? The first and most powerful application of mindfulness is in how we relate to our own emotions. Our habitual reaction to difficult feelings like anger, anxiety, or sadness is to do one of two things. We either suppress them, pretending they aren't there, or we become completely consumed by them, identifying with them fully. We say, "I am angry," or "I am sad," as if the emotion defines our entire being. Both of these strategies are forms of resistance, and as we know, what we resist persists. Mindfulness offers a third way, a middle path. This is the practice of allowing and observing. When a difficult emotion arises, instead of fighting it or becoming it, you learn to create a space of awareness around it. You treat it like a weather pattern moving through the sky of your mind. You don't have to like the storm, but you don't have to fight it either. You can simply acknowledge its presence. The Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh used a beautiful metaphor for this. He said we should treat our anger like a crying baby. You don't get angry at the baby or ignore it. You pick it up gently, you hold it with compassion, and you say, "I am here for you." Mindfulness is the practice of holding our own difficult emotions with this same gentle, compassionate presence. Let's look at how this works in a real-life scenario. Imagine you're stuck in traffic and you're running late for an important meeting. The familiar feeling of anxiety and frustration begins to rise. The monkey mind starts chattering. "This is a disaster. I'm going to be so late. My boss is going to be furious." The untrained mind gets completely swept away by this storm. The mindful mind, trained by those 5 minutes of daily practice, has a different option. It notices the storm arising. Because you've practiced returning your attention to the breath hundreds of times, you now have the skill to do it here. You can take one conscious breath. This breath creates a tiny gap. In that gap, you can acknowledge the reality of the situation. Okay, I am stuck in traffic. A feeling of anxiety is present in my body. You notice the tightness in your chest. You notice the frantic thoughts. But you don't have to believe them. You don't have to become them. You are the calm center observing the storm. This doesn't magically make the traffic disappear. What it does is prevent you from adding a second layer of suffering, your own internal panic, on top of an already difficult situation. This is freedom. This skill is what is sometimes called non-reactivity. Mindfulness practice slowly lengthens the fuse between a trigger and your reaction. The more you practice, the longer that fuse becomes, giving you a precious moment of choice. You can choose to respond to a situation with wisdom and clarity, rather than reacting blindly from a place of habit and fear. So, how do you start integrating this into your day? The key is to start small, with what are called informal mindfulness practices. You're weaving moments of presence into your existing routine. Here are 3 simple informal practices you can try this week. First, mindful mornings. Choose one routine activity you do every morning: brushing your teeth, making coffee, taking a shower. For the duration of that one activity, commit to being fully present. Feel the bristles of the toothbrush. Smell the aroma of the coffee. Feel the warmth of the water on your skin. When your mind wanders, just gently bring it back. You are training your attention in the midst of everyday life. Second, the mindful pause. Throughout your day, set a gentle reminder on your phone or watch for 3 random times. When it goes off, simply stop whatever you are doing and take 3 conscious breaths. Notice your posture. Notice how you feel. It's a 30-second reboot that brings you back home to the present moment, interrupting the momentum of the monkey mind. Third, the practice of labeling emotions. The next time you feel a strong emotion, try to gently name it in your mind. Instead of, I am angry, try observing, anger is present, or there is a feeling of sadness here. This simple act of labeling creates a space between you and the emotion. It depersonalizes it and allows you to see it as a temporary event, rather than a permanent truth about you. The secret of the monk, then, is not just about a formal 5-minute meditation. That is just the training ground. The true practice is about taking the awareness cultivated on the cushion and weaving it into the fabric of your day. It's about learning to hold our difficult emotions with compassionate attention, creating a space of non-reactive choice, and finding moments of presence in our most ordinary activities. This training of attention allows us to navigate the outer world with greater calm and clarity. But what about our inner world? What about the stories we tell ourselves, especially the negative ones? How does this practice of mindfulness help us deal with our deepest patterns of self-criticism and limiting beliefs? That is the final and most profound application of the secret, and it's where we will go in part 3. What is one daily activity you could try to do more mindfully this week? Share your idea in the comments. If this practical approach is helpful, please like the video and subscribe to Buddhism Wisdom, Spirituality. We'll see you soon. Part 3. Welcome back. In our journey to uncover the monk's secret to happiness, we began by establishing a simple, 5-minute daily practice of mindfulness to train our attention. In Part 2, we learned how to take that trained attention off the cushion, using it to navigate difficult emotions and stressful situations with greater calm and clarity. We now arrive at the final and most transformative application of this practice. We turn the lens of mindfulness inward to examine the very stories we tell ourselves about who we are. How does this simple practice help us deal with our deepest, most persistent source of suffering? Our own inner critic. To understand this, we must first recognize that much of our suffering doesn't come from events themselves, but from our interpretation of those events. The human mind is a story-making machine. It takes the raw data of our experience and weaves it into a narrative, and the central character of that narrative is me. The problem is, this narrator is often unreliable and deeply biased. It tends to focus on the negative, to generalize from single events, and to create limiting beliefs about ourselves. This is the voice of the inner critic, the one who takes a single mistake and weaves it into a story called, I am a failure. This is where mindfulness becomes a revolutionary tool. The practice of mindfulness is the practice of learning to distinguish between direct experience and the story about the experience. Let's take an example. The direct experience might be a feeling of tightness in the chest, a thought that says, I can't do this, and a memory of a past failure. The story your mind creates from this is, I'm having an anxiety attack because I'm an anxious person who is incapable of handling challenges. Mindfulness practice trains you to stay at the level of direct experience. You learn to simply observe the tightness in the chest as a physical sensation. You learn to see the thought, I can't do this, as just a string of words, a passing mental event, not as an ultimate truth. You learn to notice the memory as just a memory. By not adding the second layer of the story, you don't add the fuel of belief to the fire of suffering. You begin to see your thoughts not as facts, but as suggestions from your mind, and you don't have to accept every suggestion your mind makes. This leads us to the ultimate freedom that this practice can offer, the freedom of non-identification. Through consistent practice, you begin to experience a fundamental shift in your sense of self. You start to realize that you're not your thoughts. You're not your emotions. You're not your bodily sensations. You are the spacious, silent awareness in which all of these things arise and pass away. You're the sky, not the weather. This is a profound liberation. When you are no longer identified with the chattering of the monkey mind, it loses its power over you. The inner critic can still show up and offer its opinion, but you don't have to take it so personally. Its voice becomes just another sound in the vast landscape of your awareness. This doesn't mean you become a cold, unfeeling robot. On the contrary, by creating this space, you can have a richer, more compassionate relationship with your own inner life. You can treat your own thoughts and feelings with the same kindness and wisdom you would offer to a friend. This profound shift isn't something you have to force. It is the natural result of consistent daily practice. Here are 2 final practices to help you cultivate this inner freedom. The first is a meditation practice called Thoughts Are Not Facts. During your 5-minute daily sit, when a thought arises, instead of just letting it go, try gently labeling it. If a worry appears, silently note, worrying. If a plan appears, note, planning. If a judgment appears, note, judging. Then go one step further. Reframe it by saying to yourself, I am having the thought that. So, instead of being caught in, I am a failure, you observe, I am having the thought that I am a failure. This simple linguistic shift creates a powerful space and reinforces the understanding that you are the observer of your thoughts, not the thoughts themselves. The second practice is the good morning practice. Each morning, for just 1 minute, sit quietly and check in with your inner weather. What is the emotional tone of your mind today? Is it cloudy? Is it sunny? Is it stormy? Whatever is there, simply greet it without judgment, as you would greet the morning sky. Say to yourself, good morning, anxiety. I see you're here today. Good morning, sadness. Good morning, peace. By greeting whatever is present with this simple, unconditional acceptance, you start your day from a place of spacious awareness rather than from a place of resistance or struggle. You are practicing being the sky, and so we arrive at the heart of the monk's secret to happiness. It begins with the simple discipline of training your attention just 5 minutes a day. This training allows you to bring a calm and clear presence to your daily life, transforming your relationship with stress and difficult emotions. And ultimately, this practice leads to the most profound freedom of all, the freedom from being a prisoner of your own stories. You realize that you are not the voice in your head. You are the one who hears it. The happiness of the monk is not a life free from problems. It is a life free from being defined by them. It is the steady, quiet peace that comes from knowing yourself as the spacious, unshakable awareness in which all of life's joys and sorrows can come and go. This peace is not reserved for monks in monasteries. It is your own true nature, waiting to be discovered. Just one conscious breath, one mindful moment at a time. What is one story your inner critic tells you? And how might it feel to see it as just a suggestion, not a fact? Share your reflections in the comments below. If this journey has illuminated a path for you, please press the like button and subscribe to Buddhism Wisdom, Spirituality. Thank you for your practice. May you be happy and at peace.